Hello friends, welcome back to the new tutorial. Today we are going to learn using TypeORM with the GraphQL and the PostgreSQL. In the last video we have discussed the SQLize with the PostgreSQL. Before last video it is SQLize with the MySQL and the MongoDB already done. Now the TypeORM with the GraphQL and the PostgreSQL. Those who haven't subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe my channel, and if you like the video, please do like, share and comment on my video. Let's get started. To connect to the GraphQL with the PostgreSQL using TypeORM, you have to follow the following steps. Install the dependencies like TypeORM, PostgreSQL, Apollo Server and other required packages. Configure the TypeORM with MySQL with PostgreSQL. Define the entities because we are working with the TypeORM. Create the GraphQL schema and the resolvers, and then start the Polo server, initialize the Polo server and the connect everything. So we have to install what? We have to install the TypeORM, reflect metadata and PG. I think in the last video we have installed, we have to install only with the TypeORM and the reflect. Okay, this one we have to install. Just copy this and go to the terminal and check insert. Okay, so I think this is done. Okay, this is done. Moving to the next, Apollo server for the GraphQL core GraphQL package, TypeORM for the interacting with the PostgreSQL, reflect metadata required by TypeORM for the metadata reflection, PG Postgres client for the Node.js required by the TypeORM. Configure the TypeORM with the for the PostgreSQL. We have to create the data source.js file or the connection file. You can make it. Go to our code, and now we have to create a new file which name is data source.js. Let's add the code for the configuration. Okay, so let's add it. Okay, so what we have to change, let's word wrap this. Okay, so data source type ORM, Postgres localhost, username we have to add. I think the username is Postgres. Okay, password admin. Database, I'm going to use the same database REST API, and the entity is book. So already book is created in the last one, so synchronization will be true, automatically synchronized. So if we will delete this book one. Okay, truncate or delete. There is the option for that, delete. Okay, so automatically it will create, right? So I already added, and synchronize, automatically synchronize the database schema with your entity definition, so make sure it should be true. Okay, then initialize the data source with this. If it is connecting, then it will console.log that data source has been initialized. If something goes wrong, it will go give me the error during the data source initialization, something went wrong with that. Okay, so this is the main file, that is connection file. Then now we have to go with the entities, book.js. So let's create the entities. So this is our entities, right? So let's create that one, folder entities, and then book.js. Okay, so let's create that one, book.js. Let's put the entities over there. So this is our entity part. So here we go with this one, entity. Okay, and why we are using the entity, let's have a look. Create an entity for the book entity, book.js. This will equivalent to of a table in the PostgreSQL. So basically this is a critical table into our database, right? So entities book.js file. Okay, so those who have already learned about the type ORM, they know like how to write the entities and all. Okay, so I'm expecting that you know the type ORM. Okay, this code defines the book entity with id, title, author and the published year, right? Fields which will map to the columns in the Postgres table. Define the GraphQL schema. So let's define the GraphQL schema. I think GraphQL schema we don't need to change. The last one, last video, we will going to take it up. So where we have the schema, this one. Okay, so here we go with the schema, right? GraphQL type, book ID, title, author, published year, query, books, book ID, right? And the inputs, okay, title, author, published year, and mutation, add book, update book, and the delete book, right? Moving to the next, which is already discussed in the previous videos about this schema. Now we have to change the resolvers this time because this is for the type ORM. Okay, so in resolvers, just define the resolvers that uses the type ORM to interact with the PostgreSQL resolvers. So data sources, we have to just replace it up with from this, and the entities, we have to skip it. We have to add from this. Okay, so let's go to the resolvers. So here we have to add like this. Okay, so data source entities is coming. Let's add the resolver, export that resolvers. Okay, so this is basically the type ORM part. Okay, so this is done. So we will take the query. So first of all, books and the books by ID. So app data source dot get repository book, fetch all the books, fetch a book by its ID. Then we have a mutation like add book, update book, and the delete book. Okay, so here we will get all the inputs and save that the book to the database. Update the book by ID. We use the ID and the input and update by its ID. Okay, then we have a delete book. So delete by ID and effective roles return true if the deletion was successfully. Okay, so this is the resolvers that we have created. Now initialize the polar server and start the server. So just we have to make sure we have to replace with this only because rest of the things gonna be same. Okay, so go to the index.js file. Okay, and just we have to go with only the top of it. Okay, that's it. Okay, import data source, resolvers, schemas, everything is done. Then the server, and then the start standalone server with the port. Okay, done. Anything I missed? Mutations I have shown, resolvers, schemas, database, done. Now the thing is, now we have to connect it with the type ORM and the Postgres. Is it working or not? Let's run this. Node index.js. Oh, invalid on unexpected decorator. To specify this case, this class is an entity. Syntax error. So I think might be, but entity error. Let me go and check. This is all what I have added. Let me go to the entities, book entities. Okay, let's run it again. There is an error, invalid and unexpected token decorator to specify that this class is an entity. And decorator to specify this class is an. What is happening with this? Let me check this one. Hold. This is have some issues. Let me check with this one. Just give me a 1 minute. Now the issue, you can see that the issue is resolved. The data source has been initialized. The issue is that in the entity part. Here you can see I have changed the entity part to something look like this because that entity which I am using is basically for the TypeScript. I have tried to use this one, right? So here you can see that they have the ID number or string and everything. So this is, I think, work basically it is used for the TypeScript basically, right? So I think if I need to use it in the TypeScript, that will be workable. If I'm going to use the plain JS part because all the file is in the JS file, so I need to do something like this. Okay, so here you can see that. But this is also correct one, like the ID, title, author, and published here. If I go and just check it over here, and let's refresh the tables, and here you can see that the book table is created. Okay, the columns is created. automatically, right? So this is how you if you are working the plain JS, then proceed with this one. If you're working with the TypeScript, then definitely you will go with like this. Okay, so just this is the main thing that we have to do, right? This is done. Okay, so what else we have left with? We have to check some of the queries, right? So let's go and just check it out. So here we have to go with the already, I think the schema we have already defined. So this is all about the schema with the mutations. Okay, and then we have resolvers already done. Yes, resolvers are already done. Then we have the polo server initialization. Okay, done. Then run the queries. Okay, let's add the mutation. I think mutation is already there. Let's open it. Okay, this is query. Currently it's empty books, right? So let's go with the mutations. Okay, let's go over here. Let's copy the mutation, add mutation, right? With idle type, ID, title, and all. Okay, so here we go with this one. Okay, let's add the variables, which is very important. This is our input, title, author, and published year. So let's add the variables. Let's add it. So it's added. If I go to my Postgres and this is a table, let's execute this. Okay, so I think there is. Let's view and all rows. So here you can see that, right? So next, this is done. Now we have to fetch. Let's add two, three more data over there. Let's add this one, and this is added. Let's fetch all the queries. So here you can see that. Let's add the query books. Okay, fetch all the books data. Let's add it. Let's remove it because we don't require the variables. And here we go with this one. Okay, so this is how you can do that part, and this is the way the resolvers work. Okay, so this is add a book. So input, okay, whatever data I'm going to input, just save it. So this is the add book mutation. Similarly, we have go with the update. Similarly, we go with the delete book, right? So this is how you can do that part, right? And this is the query for all the books that we want to fetch, correct? So this is how you can do that. Any doubt, any query in that, do let me in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and comment on my video. Have a nice day.